Providers Conference. Thank you, Nissa. This is an informational webinar for the RFP for piloting culturally responsive prevention services for reducing entries into out-of-home care among Black and African American families. I'm going to take a second to introduce myself, and then I'll give Rachel an opportunity to introduce herself. My name is Tessa Velasco, and I am the Culturally Responsive Services Program Manager under the Department of Children, Youth, and Families Division of Partnership, Prevention, and Services.
Thanks, Tessa. I am Rachel Denny. I am the headquarters contracts team manager and also the solicitation coordinator for this procurement. So everything that's posted on webs is posted through me, and I will be going over some kind of the calendar and some process stuff for you today. So thank you.
Thank you. All right. So before we jump in, I wanted to offer a quick disclaimer about what is to follow in this presentation. So this presentation includes brief descriptions of the request for proposal, specifications, and requirement, but does not fully elaborate on all required elements. As a result, this presentation does not supersede what is stated in the RFP or its appendices. Proposers are responsible for ensuring that their proposal is complete and accurate according to the information and requirements contained in the full RFP. While DCYF staff will provide verbal answers to some questions during the conference, please note that the official department response Q&As will be posted on April 24th. In addition, 2 more Q&As will be posted on the Washington Electronic Business Solutions WEBS platform on May 6th and May 16th. Proposers are responsible for ensuring that they read the official responses, even if their questions were verbally answered during the conference. Please note that the last date for sending your questions is May 14th, 2024. Okay, so while I'm going over the agenda, I would like to invite everyone present to introduce themselves in the chat. Please mention your name and the organization that you are here representing. So to go over what we're going to be reviewing today, we're doing our welcomes right now and introductions, and then I'm going to go into a background and definitions concerning why we posted this RFP. We're going to go over RFP, sorry, these are supposed to say RFP goals and service components, the RFP schedule, the application process. So we're going to go over who can apply and how to apply. And then we will go further into the application process and resources. So we'll go into where do we access the information. We'll go over payment structure and evaluation criteria, and then we'll have a moment at the end for question and answers. I will also provide an additional moment throughout, about halfway through, for question and answers. And then we'll go over a conclusion and some immediate next steps. Does anyone have any questions about the agenda before we start? Okay. So to start off, I would like to give a background on why we are here. Right now, DCYF aims to deliver culturally responsive services to address some of the disproportionality numbers that we're seeing amongst Black and African American families. This comes from an analysis that occurred in 2021 that revealed that the placement rate for Black and African American children is 38% higher than what we would expect based on their representation in the general population. By expanding the number of culturally responsive and specific services offered, we really hope to address service gaps that may contribute, along with other individual and system factors, to racial disproportionality in the child welfare system. So we're going to go into defining proximate providers. For this pilot, we would like to reduce the overrepresentation of Black and African American children in care by providing culturally responsive and culturally specific services through proximate provider organizations. Proximate providers are organizations that are close in proximity and location and have shared experiences to the families that they serve. We are seeking to support proximate providers within the Black and African American community in this pilot. A huge component to this project is that services that are delivered to families are culturally responsive and culturally specific. DCYF defines culturally responsive as services that involve proactively engaging with people in ways that are appropriate within their cultural values, behaviors, and norms. Culturally specific services would be services that create opportunities for proactive learning and engagement regarding the distinct cultural practices of others, referring specific elements that could be recognized as particular to their culture. These are actually all three terms we're going to hear quite a bit throughout this, and you will also see it throughout the RFP itself. Okay, so our RFP goals. First and foremost, the goal for this RFP is to reduce the number of Black and African American children in out-of-home care by providing culturally responsive and specific services. But through this pilot, DCYF also hopes to learn what it will take to make these investments successful and develop ways for DCYF to serve as an effective and capable funder and partner to organizations serving Black and African American families. We would like to test solutions to other challenges, such as identifying community-based and evidence-based practices that would meet the needs of at-risk families, and use the learnings from this pilot to expand our current service array to include culturally responsive prevention services for Black and African American families from within their own communities. We welcome service providers to apply for required services or a combination of optional services based on your community's needs. So some of these required services would include the use of service navigators, whose role would be to provide support to child welfare involved families to assist them with navigating the child welfare system so that there's an improved chance of reunification or prevention of child removal. The second required service is flexible basic needs supports. This would offer flexible basic need supports for at-risk Black and African American families, which could include child care support, food, transportation, etc. So ensuring that some of those basic needs are met with families. Some of the optional services could include fatherhood supports, adolescent mentorship, culturally responsive parenting services, or a support or service that you as a provider believe would help to reduce entries into out-of-home care. So it could be whatever you would like to pitch within your application that you believe would be an important service within your community. Okay. So the payment structure for this pilot, there are two funding components. The first will include a capacity building grant that will be awarded as a one-time upfront amount valued between $22,000 to $44,000. This funding will be used to build organizational capacity, strengthen the prevention services, and implementation of the new interventions. So this is investing in just capacity building of your program. The second funding component will include startup and service delivery payments. Final applicants will calculate how much they will need to start their program, as well as the amount needed to deliver their proposed program once startup is complete. Once an approved budget has been established, the organization will be paid monthly through A19 invoicing. So there will be a component where you receive essentially a grant in the beginning, and then there will be an ongoing service delivery component that you will invoice monthly for, as well as to cover startup expenses. So this is an opportunity to pause and ask any questions. If anyone has any questions, or if any questions have come up in chat.
And I do want to say, if you feel more comfortable putting your question in chat instead of coming off mute, that would be great too.
Always welcome.
I have a question. Sorry, I'm off camera right now. So
You're
what
fine.
has worked? Do you guys have any examples of what has worked, or programming that has worked in the past that could serve as a model? Or is this um, you're just starting, you're open to all new things?
I want to make sure I have your question correct. You would like us to provide an example of a program that is culturally responsive or specific that has worked in the past, and or what we would be open to receiving. Does that sound correct?
Yeah, I'm just wanting to know what has been funded, or maybe nothing has been funded, which is why you guys have this. So what has been funded so that um, that's kind of where, because I'm new to DCYF and y'all report asking for RFP. So I just wanting to know, like, what have you guys considered culturally responsive in the past?
So to my knowledge, and Rachel can correct me if I'm wrong here, DCY has not invested specifically in prevention-based programs for the Black and African American community within our child welfare umbrella. This is an absolute first. So we don't have a reference or an understanding of what will work. And part of that is also because we are not from your community. And so something beautiful about this pilot is it really gives you guys the opportunity to tell us what you would like to pilot, what you think will work with the populations that you serve. So with that being said, some examples could be effective Black parenting or some other type of services, adolescent mentorship, etc. Those were just some examples, but it could be really anything that you guys feel would be a really good prevention services within your own community.
So with that being said, how, like, when you, if you haven't funded projects like this in the past, and who, as you're reading and you're not aware of, you're allowing us to give you solutions for what our kids need, then who on your, as you guys review the application, then who on your end has the experience and knowledge and, or at least is aware of their biases, so that when we submit applications, it can be graded equitably. Does that make sense? So
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. So prior to this process went through a lot. There was diagnostic work that was done where providers, parents, people within the community gave their feedback. So they said, this is what we need, this is what we want, and this is why we designed this pilot to be what it is based off of their feedback. And with that, we also had work groups where while we were developing this procurement process, we went over those recommendations from the community and we said, okay, how do we create this? We will be extending invitations to those participants to be involved in the evaluation process to ensure that they are being graded with equity. And Rachel, I don't know if there's anything that you want to add to that. Does that answer your question?
I think the participant might have dropped from the call and missed some of that.
Uh-oh.
She just
Oh
joined
no,
back in.
we will have to post the response, an official response.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if there's anything we need to add to that response, it would be in the official written response.
Okay.
Because we're gonna review all these questions that are coming up anyway, so that we, have a good response for everybody when they're posted.
Sorry, I dropped off, but thank you for answering it. I got disconnected.
Did you hear everything? We will be posting kind of an official response to your question, but just know that the RFP was really thoughtfully drafted to allow for proximate providers to showcase their experience and their strengths. And the evaluation criteria will be used to kind of mitigate those biases and allow for an equitable scoring. So we have really put a lot of intentional thought into how this is scored, how this was created, and we used a lot of input from the community itself to develop this.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions before we continue on? Okay, I will hand it over to Rachel.
Thank you. So what you're looking at now, and for those, I don't know if anybody can't see our screen, but just want to note that the presentation will also be posted for those who are just on the phone and not able to view, if there is anybody. So this is the schedule. This the RFP was posted on the 15th. Of course, this is our first webinar that we're having, and any questions that have come up from this webinar, we will be posting on the 24th into Webs. So if you are not registered in Webs, I highly suggest you do that so that you get any of the amendments that may be posted, which will include Q&As. It'll include the PowerPoint presentation link, and also this recording. So just want to stress that. We will be having a technical assistance webinar on the 1st, and also May 1st, and also on May 13th. This gives you 2 other opportunities. Normally we have 1 webinar in a lot of our procurement, but we feel that, you know, the more opportunities there are for clarification, the better. So we'll be having 2 more, and then all the questions from the webinars and everything will all be posted by May 16th. So we'll have questions posted on April 24th from this one. We'll have I'm gonna look on our calendar real quick. We will have questions posted from the first technical assistance on May 6th, and then from the second technical assistance webinar on May 14th. However, you can email me questions all the way up until May 14th. So you don't have to attend the webinar to get give us questions. You can email those to me. And then applications are due June 10th. You would email your proposals to me. And what is supposed to be included in your proposal is in the RFP document. We will announce our successful applications on Friday, June 25th. And the anticipated contract effective date will be late July or early August. And the reason why there is not an exact date is because of, figuring out the contract negotiations of the service that you're proposing. So that can take some time. Okay. Thank you. Who can apply and how to apply? So all bidders must meet the following minimum qualifications. You have to have a license to do business in the state of Washington, or become licensed within 30 days of your apparent successful bidder announcement. Must have demonstrated experience or a clear purpose statement to serve Black or African American children and families in Washington state. Must propose a culturally responsive or culturally specific service that includes service navigation and flexible basic needs. And while all relevant entities can apply, priority will be given to bidders serving King, Pierce, and Spokane counties with significant out-of-home placements. And your application checklist is the completed and signed bidders certification and assurances form, the completed and signed administrative requirements, which is C1, your application, the technical and management response is C2. That's your actual questions that we are asking you to respond to. your cost proposals. So there's a budget template included in these documents, and you'll use that to submit your cost proposal. 3 letters of reference, the letter of intent. The letter of intent is due to my email by May 31st of 2024. And that's just, yes, we plan to, submit a proposal for this. And org chart of the key personnel that'll be providing and involved in the services that you're proposing, and then your signed and dated application checklist that's included in the document. Okay, so all the RFP documents are posted on WEBS. Applicants should register on WEBS, where they can access the RFP and the amendments and the FAQs. And the funding application is due via email to me, like I've stated previously. That is the link on to get to WEBS if you haven't registered yet. And if you click on that link and it looks like this box here that says WEBS for vendors, you've hit the right place. If you have issues with registering for WEBS, there is a WEBS customer service email at des.wa.gov, and they're the ones that administer this application for all state agencies. All state agencies post their applications on WEBS. So, so if you do register on WEBS, not only would you get our notifications, but any state agency that would post under the commodity codes that are available. So vendors must be registered on WEBS. When you register, you will register under certain categories called commodity codes that represent the services you provide. So if you do a piece of case management in your service, but it's not completely case management, you would still register under that commodity code. Same with counseling. So all the ones that are listed on this slide are the commodity codes that we posted the RFP to. And the more commodity codes that we use, the more people we reach. So it would be good that, when you're registering, you register under multiple commodity codes, because then you will get multiple notifications. And yes, customer service email and link is up there. And I highly recommend you using those customer service emails in case you're having problems. Okay. So there is a resource out there. I don't know if people know about, but Washington Apex Accelerator, which used to be the Washington Procurement Technical and Assistance Center, but now it's called Apex Accelerator. And they are a resource for bidders. Their services are free, as most of their events and workshops. And what they do is they advise businesses on how to win government contracts and subcontracts. They have one-on-one technical assistance, which includes bid reviews, marketing assistance, contract performance, small business certifications, and more. They host procurement training classes and seminars, and they just help businesses register with the correct databases in order to compete for government contracts. So also, if you're having an issue trying to register on WEBS, you can go through them and they can try and help you with that process as well. And they assist businesses through the government contracting marketplace. Their mission is to increase the number of government contracts awarded to Washington firms so that those firms can grow. They provide no cost or confidential one-on-one technical assistance in all aspects of selling to federal, state, and local governments. So if you don't If you haven't submitted a proposal for a government contract before, this is a really good resource. Okay. All right. So a DCYF panel will evaluate applications across 3 categories: the proposed program, which is the most points, 40 points possible, the experience, which is 25 points, and management and improvement, which is 15 points. Among eligible applicants, DCYF will prioritize selecting proximate providers where appropriate to do so. Due to stipulations attached to some of the funding sources, 60% of the funding will be directed toward applicants serving counties that display a high number of Black and African American out-of-home child placements, i.e. King, Pierce, and Spokane counties. Okay. Questions about what I just said, and then questions about anything else?
Is there a way that you could send the slide deck out or put it on the chat?
Go ahead, Tessa.
I'm not hearing, there seems to be some feedback when you talk. Laniqua, is that, I hope I'm saying your name correct. But what I heard was, is there the ability to send out the slide deck?
Correct.
Okay. Rachel, do you have the answer to that one?
Yeah, so we'll be posting it on Webs. So it'll be an amendment that'll be posted that will include the link to the PowerPoint and the recording.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay. So next steps is we will be posting the following resources on web. So as Rachel said, we will be posting the video recording from the Bidders Conference, which is what we are here today doing. And then there will be a detailed FAQ with answers. And if you have any questions, please reach out to Rachel. Her email is provided here. And Rachel, can you remind us again on the deadline to get questions emailed to yourself?
Yes, so I believe that is, you can submit questions, written questions to me until 2 o'clock on May 14th. So from now until then. And that just gives you time to absorb the information. I'm sure more questions will come up as you're, diving into the procurement document and absorbing the information you received today. So I would just, any questions, send them my way.
Last chance for questions before we close. Okay, well, I appreciate everyone for coming. Again, a recording of this webinar will be posted to web, so look out for it. If you would like to review any of the slides that we presented today or any of the information that was discussed, we have recorded your questions, so we will also be including some of the formal responses to those questions that were asked within this meeting as well. So thank you everyone for coming. Reminder that there will be TNA office hours that you can also come and participate in if you would like an opportunity to speak with us again and voice your questions via a meeting format. Thank you everyone. Have a wonderful weekend and a good day.